G'day everyone, welcome back to Sully's Rods and Customs. You might ask what I've been doing for the last week. I usually pump out a couple of videos a week. Been doing a lot of wiring on the HQ, got all the internal harnesses connected, all the dash is operational, have all the engine bay wiring done, tail lights working, everything was working on the car, so I tested the headlights. You might notice there's no headlight bucket or headlight in the front of the car here. As soon as I turned it on, headlights come on immediately. This headlight just went extremely bright, and then I just heard this pinging noise, and it blew the headlight. It was a brand new headlight. I purchased them as a set from, I think it was Kingswood Country. When I inspected the headlight, I could see that the headlight itself, I'm not sure how you capture that in the camera there. I'll show you that compared to a brand new one. This is the replacement. So that's the one that blew, and that's the replacement for it. You can see all this frosting up on the top of this one. It's like what I was told from where I bought the new one from was if these are vacuum sealed. So they're glass, they're vacuum sealed. If they got any gaps in the side here where they've actually vacuum sealed the glass, I think they vacuum sealed it from that point there. So if that little point's leaking, or it's leaking around any of these connections where the filaments are, and it has oxygen inside there, it just immediately fries that the filament. So it was like having spotlights on for maybe 2 seconds, and then I just heard it ping and it popped. So what I'm going to show you tonight is I have that headlight bucket out. I have the new headlight here. I'm going to install them into the bucket and put the chrome ring on with the screws. I'll reinstall it into the front of the car here, hook the battery back up. Hopefully it doesn't fry the light. So I'll just swing the camera around and I'll put it to the bench here, and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. Righto, so here we go. It's just the brand Moto Light. It's a 12 volt sealed beam, 3-pin. It has low beam, high beam, and it has a spot for the parking light in the bottom here. You can see that small glass section there where there's no mirror inside it. So one thing you got to do when you're fitting these to the bucket is there's these 3 notches in the bucket, and they're not evenly spaced. So if you get this wrong, you can see that glass lug there fits down into there. But if you get it wrong, the other ones don't fit in because the slot is there and the lug is there. So you kind of got to turn these things around until you feel them slot in, and all of the lugs fit into the hole. So that's it right there, right? So that lug's in, that lug is in, and that lug is in. So you can see it from the back there where they've pressed the steel out. It's clear of all the pins. There's still a gap there for the parking light globe that's in the actual engine bay harness to go in there. So that's that part. Then you have the chrome trim ring that goes around the outside of it. So there is a certain way this goes in as well. There is a join in it, and the join is to the bottom. So that's sitting in there. I'll get this. You can see it just fits in over the top of the headlight. It's not just a trim ring; it actually holds the headlight in the bucket, and then it lines up these little tabs on the headlight trim ring with the bucket at the back. So then you just get your screws, just put them in loose to start, just to hold it all in place. Make sure all the screw holes line up with the little tabs. Just make sure you get the right size Phillips head screwdriver or flat blade screwdriver, depending on the type of screw that you have. These were just screws that I got in the Kingswood Country kit when I purchased the full kit and clip set. I'll show you that in a second. So screw these up till they stop. So these were new buckets I purchased. These are new headlights we purchased. New trim rings as well. You just got to be careful. You over tighten that, you can pull that trim ring out from the back of the little spot wheel that it has. So that's how it looks. That's how it looks all fitted. I'll just give it a bit of a clean up. So now you have to take a look at it. It actually has the word top written on the top of the globe, top of the lens, sorry. Right, I'll pause the camera, I'll swing it around over there, and I'll show you fitting it into the car. Righto, so I'm back. It's set up down here. I'll show you this first. This is the 3-pin plug that goes on the back of that sealed beam. There you can see in the middle of it is the little parking light globe that lines up with that little clear hole on the back of the unit down the bottom here. So first things first, take the little protective clip off. For me, I will fit the bulb, make sure it says top or bottom, whichever side it goes. Top is up there, which then puts the 3 pins in the correct orientation here. Pop them into the back, make sure it's in snug, and then you can see there how the parking light globe just shines in that hole. It actually shines a bit of light around the rest of the place. Not sure if you're wondering, I have air conditioning fitted to this car. In the back, right behind that panel there between the grille and the headlight bucket is the dryer for the air conditioner. All the hoses run off that air conditioner and drop down underneath the car, comes up to the dryer here, in through the what do they call it, the condenser, I think it is, at the front of the engine, runs down under the guard and goes into the car from the back there. So in case you can see that hose sticking in the back there and wonder what it is. So in the back of the radiator support, there's a spring at the top here which hooks into this hole on the side of the chrome trim, and there's 2 adjuster screws down the bottom here. So for me, I like to back off those adjuster screws a bit, so you've got plenty of room and plenty of movement to clip it in. Everyone does it different ways. This is my way. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to get that hook into that slot there, so just got to get the headlight into the hole carefully. Got to fit into the top tab there. Alright, and get that hook. See, it's hooked now into that spring, and then I pop it into the side screw at the side there, and then underneath here there is the bottom screw, which I like to get that bottom one in first normally. Screwdriver down so I don't scratch any paint. I just put it there, let it pop over the top. So the bottom one's in, and this side one over here, I put the screwdriver end in the actual screw, and I slide it out to the side and let the headlight pop in the back of it there. So I'll push that in there now. Not quite in there. There we go. Pop the screw into the side. You can see the headlights turn slightly. So what you can do is you can turn these screws. This is how you adjust your beam angle for your headlight. You can see how it's turning that lens. Adjust the bottom one down here. You can see now it's turning the headlight to the down. This is, at the moment, it's probably pointing out straight into the oncoming cars' faces. So turn that down so it's nice and low. This is probably facing too far into the center. I'll just screw it over. Once the car's actually on the road, I'll pull it out of the garage once it's running, and I'll do a final adjustment on that. I'll just get the headlight bucket or the headlight surround screws. Maybe before I do that I should connect the battery, test that headlight. What do you reckon? Positive terminal's on, negative terminal, I'll just put it on, give it a little nip up with the spanner, not too tight, and let's just give it a test, eh? Let's just see what happens if we turn the headlights on. There you go, we have success. Headlights on. Other one's working, tail lights are working. I'll do a bit of a walk around in a second and show you all those lights going. We'll just connect this. Oops, that's the chair. It's a good idea to just give pieces a bit of a clean and a dust over when you take them off and reassemble and get all your fingerprints out. Any dust that's settled in the area in between the last bit of work you did and this next bit of work, because it's actually quite difficult to get in down below that bucket. Look at that beautiful chrome bumper bar there. Right, pop this in very carefully so I don't scratch the paint. Just put that in loose for now. I mean, you're probably thinking, what's this wanker doing? Who doesn't know how to put a headlight in? I don't know. Who doesn't know how to put a headlight in? Maybe some people don't, maybe some people do. What I'm doing now is I'm just lining up the holes here and I'm looking for the little speed nut location behind it so I can get the screw into the hole. Once it starts in there, I can feel it get a bit tighter. This one's been a bit of a shit. I'll screw it up here and make it just sort of semi-tight till I get them all in. If you notice all the parts we're using on this car, they're all brand new or reproduction parts. You can buy these reproduction parts that look pretty good quality now, cheaper than you can buy second-hand parts on eBay or Gumtree or whatever. You won't get the quality or the shine of the headlight like that from a used part. So turn that headlight down a bit. Wonder what that tab is sticking down the top there. I'll have to work that out. It looks like when these guys did the work on the car, they left that tab bent down, which it should be up in the top there. So anyway, I'll do a bit of walk around. I'll show you the lights on the car. I'll have to take that bucket back off and bend that tab back up. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm thinking the painters must have bent something down or knocked something and left it hanging down there. But anyway, let's show you what we got here, eh? I'll just unscrew this for a sec. Plug that. All right. So, still don't have all the interior back in the Kiwi. We have dash lights working here, so you can see all the gauges in there, have the lights that come on and shine into them. They're actually up underneath. See these lights up underneath here? What I've got to do is I've got to find the bluey coloured lenses that go into these things to diffuse it a bit, because I'm not sure if you kind of catch it, but if you get to it's kind of that angle there, you can kind of see at the top here how much glare you get off the gauge. So without those diffusers, it's quite shiny. I can imagine on a dark night you're driving along, it'll be quite bright, so a lot of reflection in your face. So look for those little deflectors. You can find them on eBay, someone sells them there. Those dash lights are actually in the top of the dash here. You can see these little globe holders here. This one's actually missing one. I'm gonna have to. I got a spare harness for the dash. I'm gonna have to cut into this line, connect the extra one into there. Not sure why. I think this top panel suits one type of car, but the amount of lights on this harness that we purchased must be for a different type of car, maybe the older style with a 1 or 2 gauges in there. So yeah, dash lights are working there now. We have ignition lights. You can hear the indicator clicking. We have the side marker indicators working. We have the back ones working. Oops, that side. Nice loud clicking. We have the front ones working down there. Give it a flick the other side. You see the other headlight on. Oops, I'll go around the opposite way. Got a spotty on in the garage. Quite cold in here today. It's probably 5 or 6 degrees outside, so I just thought put these spotlights on. It's helped me warm up the garage. So there you go. You can see the beast. Lights are working. You can see under there number plate lights working. Got the 5 litre badge on the back here. Looks pretty schmick. Kind of matches the black Kinger badge on the back there. I've got to tidy up some of the wiring harness in the boot. It's looking pretty good in there too. Turn this off. You can actually hear, I'm not going to start it because there's no fuel in the car, but you can listen. It actually cranks over now too, so I know all the wiring's working in the car. Interior light. Oops. Interior light works too. Look at that. Beautiful. I just got to connect the pins up here that go into the back of the doors. But we put all the insulation in the back there, all the sound deadening, so I have to cut a hole in it, throw this up in the back. It sticks out through that hole. Then these pins with the springs on them go in there, and as that grounds that, you can actually see it turns the interior light on. So that's one of the next jobs I got to do. You can see roof linings in and fitted. It took a lot of work to get that like that. You can still see, I don't know, you can probably see just behind that light there's still a really heavy crease in it. Must have had it sitting tight in a box somewhere and it put that crease in. I took this out and I've got a video I've got to edit and put together and show you. I had to lay this thing out on the kitchen bench and iron it flat. Took quite a while. Pain in the ass, but had to do it. Yeah, so that's done. Sail panels are in the back. Parcel shelf is in, seat belts are in. You can see the sail panels in there, they look really good too. Yeah, it's really moving along now. Lots of small things getting knocked off the list. The list is never ending every time you look at it. Got to do more. Had someone talk to me about the air conditioner and how I mounted it, so I'll do a quick look in there and show you what I've done with that. So it was a bit of a stuff up when we did all the panel work. We were playing around with the air conditioner under the dash and where it was going to sit. Kind of worked it out, and then we forgot to weld the brackets in. So because the brackets didn't get welded in, you can see right there's a bolt in the engine bay, and right over there's one too. Really was trying to avoid that. I really wanted that clean face on the engine bay. That's where the heater fan used to be, the blower and the heater element from the radiator. But you can see how nice and neat that looks. Welded a panel into there, straightened it up. Looks great. What a shame! What a shame those 2 screws are in there. But anyway, so the air conditioner we have for this car is Vintage Air. I showed you the other side before, the little panel that goes into the existing heater box. It comes with a couple of these little LED brackets with a little light in them, so you can mount it in the back of the fascia, and then this little face plate here, which looks pretty tidy. It actually fits really neat in that hole. We just have to sort of scallop out a few holes on the side there just to mount it. It'll be pretty neat when it's done. Once the fascia goes in the front, you won't see those little holes. Underneath the dash here, because this Vintage Air stuff is made for US or American cars, just let me grab grab a torch and show you what's happening under here. Geez, I come prepared, hey? Might be okay at fixing or building cars, but I'm definitely not a bloody photographer or videographer, whatever you want to call them. So you can see in the back here now, up under there, that piece there is a whale tail. It's a vent. It goes up to the demister vents in the top for your windscreen, and you can see at the back over there. I don't know if you can see it. Where's the light? Yeah, you can see at the back over there. That's the bit that used to connect up to the existing heater box. I cut it off neat. I screwed and sealed a plate onto the back with a little adapter for that hose, and that hose now connects into one of those front ports there, which is not, it's only temporarily on there. I've got to fix it on permanently. But this port here and that one over there are the ones for the front demister. I only have one attachment point for the front demister, so I'm going to blank off this one here, which will just force more air out of that one. And behind those, if you can see them over the back there, behind there you can see those other ones. We have the footwell, the front vents, drivers and passenger side vents. So those vents will duct off from there. One will come out this hole here for the front air conditioning for the passenger. One will come out here for the driver, and the vents on the other side will be just external air for the face and feet for the driver. So that will work well. Underneath here you can see right here I've got the drain hose for the for this unit. I'm going to take this clamp off, it's too visible. I don't want to catch a toe on it or something. It's just pushed over the top. It drains out of there. It goes in behind the carpet. When the carpet's in here, it's not that visible. So when you sit in the car, you're sitting up sort of here somewhere. You're not going to look down and see that. It actually goes down out through the side panel here and out under the car. So it's got to be sort of downhill all the way. You can't allow it to go uphill because you'll catch water in it, and then this will overflow water into the car. In the top here, there's a few connections. There is get more light in there for you. Hang on a sec. Let's just swing that up. Down my bloody thing. All right. In here, there's a few connections. This white wire you can see here. This is a ground wire. And over the back here, you can see this plug here, which is for the power to run this fan and evaporator unit. And what I did was, because it's American, it doesn't actually reach. Usually the American controls are in the middle here somewhere for the fan and air conditioner and stuff, and it doesn't reach all the way to the opposite side on the HQ or the Kingswood. So what I did was I just cut this off of the control panel. I'm going to connect it in here temporarily, and I'm going to run the cables all the way across and solder a new section in. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 400mm short, and I'll solder in a piece all the way to the other side there, hang it out the hole where the dash hole is, which is right over there. Once I get that over there, then I'll be able to connect up the new panel, or the new control panel for it. You can see in the back here, you can see the hoses down there for the vintage air. So for the air conditioning, they go from there straight out the side kick panel out there, under the front guard, around the front radiator. These hoses you can see coming up here are the heater core hoses, and I'm not sure if you can see, but down under the dash under there, the heater core hoses go through the firewall, through those grommets. That's the actual heater control valve you can see down there. So when you flick to heat on the control panel, it opens that valve and it lets warm water or hot water from your engine run into this this condenser here, or evaporator, whatever the condenser I think it's called, and heat it up so you can blow warm air out at yourself. So that's pretty much where we're at with that. Do the wiring for that this week. Once that wiring's tidied up, I'll test run it, make sure it's actually got power running to the air conditioner. If that's fine, then I'll start bolting up the dash, like the dash panel's in. I've got to put a couple of grounds in. You see I've got a temporary ground just connected there for now. I've got two others temporarily underneath. One of them goes on the top up here. It actually connects up to this lug here because it bolts to the dash. So I'm going to have to clean some paint off where that bolts up there. You can see that metal tab runs through. That bolt actually connects through a speed nut in that hole, and it gets a ground off this metal dash panel. So I just got to check all my grounds, make sure they're right. Once that's all done and the dash is all working and tested and fans are running, I'll lift the steering column up, get that steering wheel on. When the dash pad arrives, the new dash pad, I'll get that installed. Then I can pop these vents in. Then those vents will go in into these holes, like I mentioned, through the dash pad. We bought the dash pad that has the air conditioning vents in it, just to make it all work for us. Like I said, seat belts are in. The sun visors are in. The mirrors in. Everything's there, ready to go with this interior. Bit of a stuff up. See these little rings here? They're the rings that cover and hold the door knob in place. Didn't bend the tabs over on the back of these bloody things, so gonna have to pop the door trims off, bend those little tabs over. You're probably thinking, oh, you can get to them from the side or do something to glue them down. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. Pop the handles off, pull the arm rest off, take the door handles off, pop the whole thing off, take it off, squeeze those little tabs around, put the whole thing back on. It's probably, I don't know, maybe an hour or two's work to get that done. Yeah, but other than that, she's moving along nicely. A lot of the shit that no one likes doing, which is the wiring, is now done. Like I said, I just got to tidy up some of the wires in the boot. The harness in there had a bit of a crossed wire on it, but that's been fixed now and all those taillights work, and as they should. Even the boot light works. When you open up the boot, there's a light in the boot for, or in the trunk for Americans there, to keep that working. And then later in the week, I'm going to show you how you bench bleed that master cylinder, and then I'll put it back on the car. And what we'll do then is we'll start bleeding the brakes. I'll get it up on some stands, get underneath, and we'll bleed the brakes, put some fuel in it, and hopefully by the end of the week, all going well, we'll kick it in the guts, get this thing started. Oh yeah, I've also got to test the wipers yet. Once I fix the grounds up, I'll test these wipers actually run and turn. Once that works and the windscreen goes in, I'll be able to put those wipers on. I have new wipers for there as well. I'm just got to paint them black to match the other stuff. So it's looking good. Everything seems to be going along pretty well. And if you've got any questions, I've had quite a few questions on the car. Hopefully I got everyone's answers back to them. There's probably 10 or 12 different people asking stuff about it. Like I said to someone, they were asking about earlier stages of the build. They were interested to see what we did. I apologise because I didn't have any videos of that stuff, but I have quite a few photos of what we did from when we first purchased the car on the trailer, bringing it back from Sydney, Bankstown, I think it was, we got it from, all the way down to stripping the car, doing all the metal work on it, getting it on the rotisserie, sandblasted, epoxied. Then it was at Viking Hot Rods, and Viking Hot Rods did some little bit of straightening work with some filler, and yeah, like I mentioned, they filled out that body line on the back there, or that shadow line, which is not the best, but too late to whinge about it now. And then they give it a lick of paint, and it looked freaking fantastic. Highly recommend the Loner Ranger as a colour. It's really nice. People comment on it, they love the colour, and it's just feels good to actually paint the car in its original colour. And it'll be nice to see this car on the road within the month. So keep watching. I'll keep updating stuff as I get it. For now, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. And if you got any questions, like I said, I've been pretty much pumped with questions, and I try to get back to every single person that does. Anyone that makes a logical sort of question, I'll answer it. So, all right, thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.